So this is me adding in a clip before the actual video. I just forgot to like explain it. But the very first step before you like solve, like I did in the video, don't do that. You have to, sorry. This is the first question on the assignment. Yeah. You have to state the non-permissible values. First, you have to make sure it's factored. That's the very first step. You have to make sure it's factored. You can't factor any of these. So, and then if you determine you can't factor them, you have to state the non-permissible values. So basically how you would do that is you would get each denominator. I'm trying to do this really quickly. So you take each denominator, you take this, put it as cannot equal 0, and then 4x plus 7 cannot equal 0. And then from there, you're going to isolate x. So to get rid of the 3, you have to subtract it. You essentially would be 0 minus 3. So x cannot equal minus 3. And then for this, 4x plus 7, you want to isolate for the x. So first you're going to get rid of the 7. So minus 7, this cancels out. And you put the minus 7 here. 4x cannot equal 7. So then you're left with 4x cannot equal 7. To isolate the x, the 4 is attached. So you're going to divide it by 4. This cancels out. So essentially, you're left with x cannot equal negative 7 over 4. Because remember, you subtracted the 7 on this side, and then you were left with this. Okay, so once you subtracted the 7 from this side, you were essentially left with 4x cannot equal minus 7. You were left with this, and you want to isolate for the x. So you divide both sides by 4, which is how you get x cannot equal negative 7 over 4. Yeah. What's up, Buckle? So this is the first activity question. I'm gonna kind of like explain it. So this is it on the board. So she said that if it's a fraction to fraction and it has an equal sign, you just cross multiply it, right? So that means you're multiplying this by this and this by this. Okay? So yeah. Let's start with the 3 and then the 4x plus 7. You would just do 3 bracket 4x plus 7 equals, keep in mind I just drew the arrow to show that you cross multiply it, but the equal sign is always going to be there. So if you cross, this is you cross multiplying. You're multiplying it, but after you multiply like these two values, you always leave the equal sign. So we have 3 and then 4x plus 7, and then right after we would have 9 bracket x plus 3. Okay, so do you kind of get it? So the equal sign is always going to be there. The arrow I just drew to show that you have to cross multiply it if it's a fraction to fraction. So x plus 3 multiplied by 9, which is what I have here. So 9 by x plus 3. And then you have 3 by 4x plus 7. Just try to, if it's a single number, just try to leave it on the outside, and then the one with an x, you kind of put it in a bracket and put it inside. Okay, so once we're at this step, we're going to distribute the 3 into the bracket, and then we're going to distribute this 9 into the bracket. Okay, 3 times 4x is 12x, and then 3 times 7 is 21. Don't forget your equal sign. It's very important. And then here we have, you're gonna 9 times x gives you 9x, and then 3 times 9 is like 27, right? Yeah, 27. So, and then after you're gonna multiply the 9 into the 3. So this is what you have. Okay, so this step is collecting like terms. So they terms that are similar. So this and this are similar because they have an x attached to it. While this and this are similar, they don't have an x attached to it. It's just the whole number. So they're like terms, they're alike. These both have an x, and then these are just whole numbers. I'm just gonna write it again under, but I'm gonna leave it like this so you can kind of see it. Okay. This is the same thing as this. I just brought it down. Okay. So if you have a like term, you want to get them on the same side, right? So how are we gonna be able? How are we gonna get? Not we have to be able to get these two. Sorry, these two on one side, and these two on another side, right? Okay. So first, you can do it any way you want, but me personally, the bigger value of the like terms is where I'm going to move the smaller one. So I'm going to, so to get rid of 9x, what would you have to do to cancel it out? You would have to subtract 9x from it. So then it's completely gone from this side. Then you're going to have 12x minus 9x, right? Okay. So I've essentially moved it from this side to this side, if that makes sense, because I subtracted it from here. So after you do that, this is essentially me moving, I've moved the 9x, and then this is what you have so far. So we have the x's on both sides, and then the whole number is still, the whole numbers are like still here. There's a 21 on this side, and then on the equal sign, there's 27. So we have to move this 27. Sorry, before we move the 27, before we move the 21, between these two, the 27 is bigger, so we're going to be moving the 21 to this side. To get rid of a positive 21, you have to subtract 21, and it cancels out, right? So you have minus 21. I'm just going to rewrite everything under this so you kind of understand it. Okay, this is what we have now. So we subtracted the 9x from this side to move it here, and then we have the 21 still on this side. We subtracted the 21, and then we moved it to this side. So we're left with 12x minus 9x equals 27 minus 21. So 12 minus 9 is 3x, right? Because if they're alike, you can always add or subtract them. And then 27 minus 1 is 27 minus 21 is 6. So we're at 3x equals 6. So now we have to isolate for x. And then I think here is just really simple. You just divide by 3. This cancels out. And then divide by 3. I need more room, so I'm just going to like move it to the side. Yeah, I believe we stopped like right here. I don't remember, but I think we did. So to isolate for x, you want to get rid of the 3 attached. So you're just going to divide by 3, divide by 3. I'm just going to move it out lower. The 3's cancel out, so you're left with x equals 6 over 3. Ugly looking 3. X is equal to 6 over 3. And then 6 divided by 3 is 2. So x equals 6 over 3 essentially equals 2. This is your final answer. And then, yeah. So once to see if your answer, I messed up. Before you box your answer, you have to check if your final answer matches the non-permissible values. So the non-permissible values for this was x cannot equal -3 and then -7 over 4, which we did in the beginning. So 2 doesn't match to either, so you box your answer. For example, let's say our final, this is just an example. Scrap this. This is an example. Let's say my final answer was actually -3. This is just an example. If this was -3 and it matched this, you would write no solution. But that's not true because the final answer is 2. So yeah.